topics, whether conscious or cosmic. It's never nonsense, mega levels are microscopic. It's a Killah Priest project, AD control the rocket. Before we land the plane, many things we engage and explain. The unexplained, without mask. Welcome to the Killah Priest podcast. Killah Priest podcast. Oh wow, we got on our shirt. A good shirt today. Yo, welcome to our episode of Killah Priest podcast. I'm your host, Killah Priest, and running the rocket is none other than AD A Dizzle.
What's going on? Welcome back. It's gonna be a wild show. You already know. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Retrograde. Man, when you're in Mercury retrograde, things happen. Sometimes they can happen in the opposite direction. You know, just like how Mercury is spinning. So certain things happen that's, oh man, that don't supposed to happen. Well, that's supposed to happen, and it happened. You know what I'm saying? All the planets aligned, the stars aligned, perfect. Yep. And so perfect, AD, that we got somebody on the show today. This is a special Tuesday.
Yes.
I see the chat room is already filling up for this one. This is going to be crazy. I mean, this right here is like one of the top speakers, knowledgeable, incredible thinkers on the planet. You know what I mean? We just gonna get right into it, man. I can't even hold out on this on this being right here who have helped us through so many ages and so many times, and through the 90s, through the 80s, and he goes even further back than that. But I know when it hit our neighborhoods and our population and everybody, it was during the 90s and stuff. He was still going up. He had books that would come out. I can't even hold on this because it's going to be crazy for the Rocket Room. Shout out to Coach Kandaka, the Oracle, and also our architects, Voltage and Vinny Black Lodge. They in the building. So we're about to get into it. Without further ado, I'll present to you on the Killah Priest Podcraft none other than the great David Icke. There we go. A little bit of delay reaction.
Hello, mate.
Yes.
Hello.
Man, I just want to say, how are you doing, David Icke?
I'm doing great, mate. And I love the pictures behind you. The pyramids, and that's a beautiful place as well.
Oh yeah.
Behind you now, yeah. It's great to be talking to you, especially at this time, because we've got to start coming together. We've got to put aside the manufactured fault lines and realize we've got a common enemy here, and that enemy is trying to divide and rule us. It's trying to play us off against each other. So we're so busy fighting each other, we don't see the same hands holding the strings attached to all of us. It's a great time of opportunity. It's a time of great danger because of where the world is being taken fast. But it's a great time of opportunity because the very fact that it's now becoming more and more blatant that the world's going down a very sinister road, more and more people are seeing it. And when I started out doing this 32 years ago, I couldn't fill a phone booth with interest, and now it's overwhelming. So that just shows you, the world is changing in a good way as well as an unpleasant way.
That's right. Technology, information is now getting out, and your voice back then, you help us to have a free thinking. You know what I mean? To think as, outside the box that they set up for us. Tell us a little bit.
I mean, that's the point. It's a box, it's a bubble. And what happens is that the population becomes, and we see it more and more with what's called the woke mentality, the population is manipulated to police the box. I said a long time ago, people laugh at sheep because they just follow the one in front and they follow the shepherd. And then, you know, if anyone wants to step out of line, the sheepdog moves in, and we laugh at sheep. But humans about sheep. The sheep, we've dispensed with the bloody sheepdog.
Right.
We police each other now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so you've got a very clear system in place whereby you come into the world and immediately your programming, your bubble starts to be formed, because overwhelmingly, most people, their parents will have been through the system you're about to go through. So they bought this bubble and they start passing that on to you, not through malevolence most of the time, but because they believe it's the right thing to do. Then you go to what's called school, and an authority figure is standing in front of you from the earliest age, like 4 years of age or something. And they're telling you what is, what isn't, what's right, what's wrong, what has happened, what hasn't happened, when you can go to the toilet, when you can eat, when you can leave to go home, when you have to be there. So this programming of the bubble, which is twofold: one, to program your perceptions in a very narrow band so that the authorities in totality, what I call the global cult, can hold you in that perceptual bubble. And secondly, to get you in a mode, a response system from the earliest age of obeying authority. So when authority says something, you do it, or if you don't want to do it, then at least you're too frightened not to do it, so you do it anyway. And then you go through school and university with this bubble being formed, what I call the postage stamp consensus, which is basically what the so-called education system is. It's a tiny, narrow band of potential possibility. And if you're going to pass your exams, you have to keep telling the system what it's told you to believe. And then you go out into the world of work and you're meeting all these people who've been through the same system you've been through, only earlier. And they're confirming to you that what you've been told is real, and what you've been told is how things are, is how things are. So basically, if you only look in the mainstream of everything, mainstream media, which is pounding out the same bubble information 24/7, the mainstream education, mainstream anything, medicine, science, academia, you're going to get the bubble story. And so when that's all you ever hear, then you're very likely to believe that's how things are. But what is happening to more and more people, of course, including yourself over the years, is you start to see it is a bubble, you start to see it is a box, and you start asking, well, hold on a second, what lies beyond it? And when you do that, you start looking for other ways of explaining the world, reality, life, yourself, then suddenly the world looks a very different place. And that's what they desperately don't want to happen. And that's why we've got this just crazy level of censorship now for anyone. If you look at it, if you look at what is being censored, it's anyone that is communicating outside the bubble. So if you don't believe the bubble version of human-caused climate change, the bubble version of Ukraine, the bubble version of everything, then you're censored or abused because the idea is that people only see and hear the bubble narrative. And that's what the censorship is all about.
That's rich, very that deep. What you think caused that? Is it the what do you think that caused people to think that way?
Well, it's because it's the way the system is set up, and you have to be. I wrote a book, the last one. I've just had one published called The Trap. The one before that was called Perceptions of a Renegade Mind. And a renegade mind is what we desperately need, and it's one which looks at all possibility and then makes its own mind up which possibility it thinks is credible, or even, call the police. It makes up its own mind what it believes. It doesn't need external kind of stimulation of any kind. And so the system has been set up. This is what I think people need to grasp, even many of the people in what's called the alternative media. Not all of them, but still many. I was reading an article this afternoon, and it was about. He said the world is full of cults. He said we've got a human-caused climate change cult, we've got a woke cult, we've got this cult, we've got that cult. And I thought, well, yeah, but you're one step from the finish. They're all expressions of the same cult. The world is being transformed into a global fascist dictatorship, which will, if we allow it to happen, be run by a world government that will not be elected. It will be bureaucrats and technocrats and scientists and academics and doctors and people like that, to dictate to every community on Earth the same impositions of this bigger plan for global control. And how can it be done? There are certain things that if people can grasp them, and they're very simple, then the world immediately becomes so easy to read. Daily events become so easy to read. And one of them is to understand how it's possible for a few to control 8 billion. And if people just visualize a spider's web around the world with a spider in the middle, and the spider is in the shadows, you never see it. No, it never puts itself on public display, but it imposes its agenda on the world, and I mean the world, via this web. So immediately around the web, you've got the most exclusive secret societies. Then you come out from the spider and you're hitting the secret societies we know about, the Freemasons, the inner core of the Jesuit order, Opus Dei, the Knights of Malta, Knights Templar, etc. And then you come to a point in the web, what I call the cusp. And at this point, you've got a series of organizations like the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations in America, the Trilateral Commission, the United Nations is part of this as well. And the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome was created in 1968 specifically to exploit environmental concerns to justify the centralization of global power. That's where the human-caused climate change hoax came out. And then in this cusp part of the web, you've got all these think tanks and non-governmental organizations, so many of them funded by George Soros. And their job at this point in the web is to take the agenda coming from the spider and to play it out in the world of the scene, the world of governments, government agencies, banks, and corporations, the education system, all the things that we can see, World Health Organization. And so when you see that these organizations and happenings in the world of the scene that we see on the news every day, they're not random. This is the point. They look random. They're not random. They're coordinated and through this web. So once you realize that this web exists and its agenda is to create a global fascist dictatorship in which every community will be dictated through this point, then the world starts to make sense. And I have this phrase I use, know the outcome and you'll see the journey. If you know where we're being taken, you see the stepping stones to that every single day happening. But if you don't know where we're being taken, those stepping stones look totally random.
Man, oh man. It's definitely time to wake up, man. It's definitely time to wake up. And having you on here, drop this is incredible. And it's like one big whole system, like you breaking down, that's that we've been under all this time, brainwashed, by these secret societies. I know you dropped a lot about the Illuminati. Where are they today with it? I know, what's your opinion? Go ahead.
Well, what has happened is that they've been manipulating under the radar for literally centuries. And the process can basically be seen by the centralization of power. So the world started out, well, at least one point in history, as people in tribes. And the people in the tribe made the decisions about the tribe. Then we had this big step forward in this agenda, which was the creation of nations. And nations are a stepping stone in this cult's agenda. They're not the end. So suddenly you had lots of tribes come together all around the world to form a nation. Now, a few people at the center of the nation are dictating to all the former tribes. And then in Europe, we've got this European Union, and that's the next stage. And there's lots of other ways that these things are happening. What they want, I've been writing about this since the 1990s, is a North American Union of Mexico, the United States, and Canada, and eventually the whole of the Americas in their version of the European Union. They're starting to talk about it again now. They talked about it a lot in the 1990s, then it went quiet. Now they're starting to talk about it again. And why? Because what that's doing is bringing all the nations, having the tribes brought together as nations. Now they're bringing the nations together under a central dictatorship. In Europe, a few bureaucrats in Brussels are dictating to basically the entirety of Europe in terms of the countries that are members of the EU. And so another part of this journey of centralization and expansion of this cult was colonialization, because it came out of Europe, the cult was running Europe way back then. And you had the British Empire, on which it was said the sun never set because it was so vast. You had the Belgian Empire, the Dutch Empire, all of them. And they went out across the world and they took over countries all over the world. And then we had this illusion, it was an illusion, of decolonization, where the European powers appeared to roll back and give independence to the former colonies. That's what they did on the surface. But there's two types of control. One is overt control that you can see, and that has a finite life, because if you can see it, then eventually people will rebel against it. The greatest form of control is covert control, where you're being controlled, but you think you're free. And so what happened is when the colonial powers appeared to withdraw back to Europe, they left out in those countries particular families, family bloodlines, and their secret society network. And they've gone on manipulating, controlling those countries ever since. They put puppet prime ministers and puppet presidents into power to give the people in many African countries, South American countries, etc., Asian countries, the illusion that they're choosing their leader, when actually it's being chosen for them by this cult. And then the final part of it, the completion of the expansion from of the cult to global status, was what we call globalization. Globalization, which is the centralization of power, corporations, everything, money, government on a global level, is this cult going for its world government dictatorship, which I've been writing about for 32 years nearly. And so that's the way they have centralized power. So the reason centralization of power has got quicker and quicker and quicker is because the more you centralize power, the more power you have at the center to centralize even quicker. So the speed gets faster. And we're now at the point where they want to go global, and they have like I say, been doing it under the radar, behind the scenes, where people couldn't see it. Because if you want to totally transform human society, which is what the game is, they call it the Great Reset, then there comes a point where human society has to be transformed in a way that people can see it. And that's where we are now. And that's why people are looking up and going, what's going on? What's happening? The whole world's changing. What's going on? We've reached that point. And, when people say, well, what's the time scale? Well, they're telling us the time scale. They keep using the same year over and over, 2030. They've been doing it for a long time on all these different aspects of this agenda for the world. 2030 comes up over and over and over again.
Wow. Yes, y'all. Man, that was great. Make sure y'all hit that super chat if y'all want any questions.
Yeah, we got a couple super chats already.
Yes.
We can dive into them right now if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Because he went into this reptile. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Got a couple of questions for you. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to Danny Salinas. He asked a question from Mr. David Icke. Who is controlling humans' destiny, and what's your opinion on spiritual warfare?
Well, you've got 2 hours, have you?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I could talk about that for 2 hours. That's what's going on.
Right.
With spiritual warfare, that it gives it a religious connotation. But then again, one of the things I've found over the years of researching this is, we talk about Christianity, we talk about Islam, talk about all these different religions, talk about Judaism. And they appear to be different religions, and in some ways they are, yes, but it's amazing the common themes. I met a wonderful man, became a great friend of his for a long time. He's no longer with us now, unfortunately, called Credo Mutwa. He was a Zulu shaman. He was a very, very great man, a very, very intelligent man. And he talked to me about a non-human force. Ultimately, it's a form of consciousness that we're looking at, hence spiritual war, that was manipulating human society. He called them the Chitahuri, the children of the serpent. And then you start looking at Christianity, and they talk about the demons. They say the demons are involved in the manipulation of the world. Then you look at Islam, and they talk about the jinn operating from the unseen. And this is a common theme. I've talked to Aboriginals in Australia. They have a similar concept of this unseen force that's not human in the sense that we perceive human, that is ultimately manipulating human society. So where from? Well, because people say, well, why can't I see them then? Why can't I see them if this non-human force is manipulating human society? Where are they? And this is where we come back to the bubble. When you start looking outside the bubble, you realize that this reality that we call the human world is absolutely nothing like we think it is. And this is mainstream science, mate. This is not pulled out of the ether. According to mainstream science, the electromagnetic spectrum, which is basically this reality, is 0.005% of what exists in what they call the universe. But visible light, which is the only band of frequency that we can see, everything we see is within visible light, is a smear, a fraction, a tiny fraction of the 0.005%. So we're basically living in what you might call a television channel within a certain band of frequency. And all the other channels, all the other realities share the same space that this one does, and we do, but we don't know about them in the same way that a radio station in a different place on the dial doesn't interfere with a radio station on a different place in the dial. They share the same space. I mean, I could put my radio on now and tune it to a certain frequency and I'll get a certain station. I'll change it and I'll get a different station. But the station I've moved off hasn't disappeared. It's still there. It's just that I'm not tuned to it. And basically the human body and the 5 sense system of human information decoding, that's what it is decoding a particular range of frequency. And outside of that range of frequency, infinity exists. This is, you know, when people talk about paranormal, they talk about ghosts and stuff. Well, what are ghosts? And, you know, well, they're entities that operate very close to this reality, close enough for them to be seen by some people, but not close enough to be seen all the time. And, you know, when you hear these stories, which of course the bubble perception will dismiss immediately, people say, I woke up and there was this entity, it was an alien and it was at the end of the bed and it appeared out of nowhere and then it disappeared. Or someone will say, oh, well, I saw this spacecraft, this saucer, and it just appeared out of nowhere and then it disappeared and I don't know where it went. And of course, the bubble mentality says, you're mad, mate. What are you on? How many have you had? But this is the point of keeping people in the bubble. It keeps them in ignorance of what's happening. So when an entity or a spacecraft or whatever is outside the frequency band of visible light, we can't see it. The body cannot see outside that frequency. Mainstream science. So when these entities or a craft, whatever, enter visible light, they appear to us to have come out of nowhere, entered our visual frequency. And when they leave, they appear to have disappeared. They haven't. They've just left that frequency band that we can see. And so what you have, and all these ancient cultures talk about it, and I've talked to people, so many people within the military industrial intelligence complex, you might say, around the world, and people who've had experience of that, and they tell you the same story. That this reality is being manipulated by a non-human force that operates outside the frequency band of human sight. Although it can enter, like I say, and that's when people say, I had this interaction with this non-human entity. So that's what's happening, and all the ancient cultures talk about it. And then you look at the world now, and you say, well, hold on a minute. Why is the agenda that we're being subjected to so anti-human? It's all anti-human. You've got human-caused climate change, which is a hoax to demonize carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the gas of life. If carbon dioxide falls to a certain level, the natural world starts to die. The natural world breathes or takes in carbon dioxide as we breathe oxygen. So now they're changing the atmosphere through some of the things that Gates is doing. We've got this guy, Elon Musk, a total fraud, by the way, who
yes,
with the SpaceX low orbit satellites firing 5G and other electromagnetic systems at the Earth, the very atmosphere that we live in. All this is going on. They want to replace human thinking. This is what they're saying openly now. A guy called Ray Kurzweil at Google, a so-called futurist, and he's been saying for some time that in the period of 2030, that year again, they want to be connecting the human brain to artificial intelligence. And he's very open in the sense that he says, once that connection is made, that humans will do more and more of their thinking from AI. AI will do more and more of the human thinking until in the end, and these are his words, human thinking is basically negligible. So, I mean, how anti-human can you get? And this whole thing that's going on, you know, with this metaverse, It's all about pulling our sense of awareness into cyberspace and into AI so that we can be externally controlled without even having to manipulate information anymore. Our thoughts and perceptions will come direct. Now that, and there's lots more I could talk about, is an anti-human agenda. So wouldn't it make sense if ultimately it was a non-human force that was behind it? And it is. And this cult, as I call it, is the way that which exists beyond human sight manipulates the world that humans live in. That's how it works. So that massive spider's web operates in the world of the seen, and in terms of secret society is the world of the unseen. And the spider at the center of it ultimately is not human. So these people like Gates and Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, who everything he says is comes out of his mouth is the cult agenda for the world, they're all gophers. The Rockefellers are gophers. The Rothschilds are gophers for this non-human force. And it's time to just say it. Oh, what will people think of me if I say this? Well, I gave up worrying about that a very long time ago. This is how it is, and I spent 32 years full-time researching it, and more and more people are coming to the understanding that actually it's the only thing that does explain it is the fact that there's some force behind this that spanned all this period that it's been going on.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that was beautiful. Well put.
Very nice. We can go to the next chat if you want.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. That was well put. Oh man, I never heard it that way.
So just very quickly, on the question there.
Yeah.
How we behave comes from how we perceive. What we perceive to be the situation dictates our behavior. So perception comes from consciousness. So you have an awakened consciousness, or you have a closed-minded consciousness, you have a human consciousness, and you have a non-human consciousness. And this non-human consciousness that I'm talking about, the one behind the manipulation, is what Christianity calls demons. It's what Islam calls jinn, or certain parts of the jinn theme. It's what Credo Mutwa called the Chittahoria. It's all these different expressions. It's what the Gnostics in Egypt, ancient Egypt, called the archons. They call them the archons. It's after the Greek word for rulers. They said these archons are operating out of human sight and manipulating human society. So you see the common theme everywhere. And it's basically, people can call it a spiritual war, and that's fair enough, but it's basically a tussle between states of consciousness. One state of consciousness, represented by this non-human force, wants to impose, control, and feeds off suffering and all these things. He wants to divide so he can rule. And then there's another consciousness that actually wants love and joy and peace and for people to get on. And there's this tussle going on between the two. And it's a tussle that's basically described by all the religions, really, in their own way.
Wow.
That was beautiful. Well put. Well, oh man, that was consciousness. Put it in. Oh man, that was beautiful. All right, we're going to go to the next one.
All right, let's go, because we got a few of them piling up here. Shout out to Ralph. He says, welcome, David Icke. Can you speak on controlled opposition and how people new to this information can avoid getting misled?
Yeah, there will be a lot of that, no doubt about that whatsoever, because whenever, I mean, you look at, what do they call it? Intel Pro, the whole FBI thing. And went on in the 60s, and involved people like Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy, all these people, Malcolm X, that were taken out. You have we come back to what I've just said. You have a state of consciousness that can see it, or at least see some of it, and is pushing back on what you might call the distorted consciousness. And so the distorted consciousness has to undermine the awakening consciousness as best as it can. And one way you do
Wow.
that is to try to infiltrate it. And that's one reason why over the last 32 years, I've always worked alone. I mean, I interact with other people, and I do stuff on our media platform, Iconic, every week. But as a researcher, as someone who's coming to conclusions, I work alone. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing you can do is infiltrate yourself then.
Mm-hmm.
Because we do have to watch that. And we have to watch, for instance, people who say the way to meet or beat the enemy is through fighting the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy, if you're looking at this non-human force, it wants you to fight it. It wants to fight. Because if I have this phrase I've been using for decades: what you fight, you become. If you look at the history almost in its entirety, you see example after example where someone has come to challenge something and then has become that something. A lot of
movies. Yep.
Yeah, I remember talking to a police officer in London some years ago who's he was he's getting on in years, and he used to police. I remember them. They were in the 70s, as I recall. They used to be marches by a far right neo-fascist organization called the National Front, and then the anti-Nazi League used to march at the same time against the march of the other group. And this police officer said, "You know something?" He said, if they didn't carry different banners and shout different things, I would never have known which was which. What you fight, you become. I tell you what, they're terrified.
Wow, that's so good.
They're terrified that we won't cooperate anymore. It's a simple word. No, we're not doing it. And if enough people say no, it's unenforceable. This is the whole point that people, I think, need to grasp because of what I talked about earlier, where from the earliest age, kids are indoctrinated into obey authority, fear authority. What's going to happen if authority doesn't like what you've done? People can get into this fear mode with regard to authority. But what the hell is authority? If you look at 8 billion people in the world, and you look at the number of people in full knowledge who are driving this agenda, it's absolutely tiny. It's tiny. If you go to the core of this global cult, you'd get them into a single room. And from that, those few people ultimately going out of the human world, but in the human world, ultimately that group are dictating the lives of 8 billion people. Now, purely mathematically, that should be impossible. A few people cannot control 8 billion. It's ridiculous.
Right.
The way it's done is that the 8 billion, or the great vast majority of them, obey what the few tell them. They get told what to do and they do it. And if we didn't, when you can see that it's actually about enslaving the population, it's enslaving our kids, it's destroying their future, we simply don't do it. You've got all these, again, because it's globally coordinated, you see the same things happening everywhere about the same time because it's coming from a central global point. So suddenly, all authorities all over the world had the same idea in the same period anyway. Oh, I tell you what, we're going to send drag queens into schools to read stories and dance around and prance around and sexualize little kids. Now, I've got a problem against drag queens. I mean, all the best, mate. Live your life as you choose, you see fit.
Right.
As long as you don't impose it on anyone else. But it's happening all across America. It's starting to happen. It's happening in Britain. Right. It's happening in country after country. Now, the the response to that is not to moan about it. It's to say, my child is not going to that school until that stops. We are not having it. And you know, if you take the people who, in full knowledge, who are driving this, you take all the law enforcement and you take those numbers away from 8 billion, you're still looking at a tiny number of people. And this is how it works. And it's all a psychological game. If they can get your psychology, they get your perceptions, they get your behavior. So there's two types of people. This is never more important than today, that have been responsible for every tyranny in history. One group is that which just does what authority tells it without question. Do it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know best, sir. Yes, sir. I know my place, sir. Thank you, sir. And then you've got another group that doesn't want to do it. They maybe have a feeling there's something not right here. I really don't want to do this. But they do it anyway because they're frightened of not doing it. They're frightened of authority. And that leaves the third group, which has ended every tyranny in history, which is the group that says, I can see what you're doing and I'm not cooperating with you. So when you tell me to do something that I can see as an ulterior motive that's bad for me and humanity, I'm not doing it. And, you know, I'll give you a quick example. The British government said outrageously that they should go to jail in totality for the rest of their lives. If only we would realize no is the most powerful word in the English language. If you say it and you mean it, no, not doing it, not having it, then the whole house of cards comes down, because we see the so-called, you know, hierarchy of control, but it literally is a house of cards. It's not a solid structure. It's a house of cards. And who's holding the cards together? We are, by our acquiescence to what the few at the top tell us. When we stop doing that, the game's over. And one other thing very quickly, when we stop allowing ourselves to be divided and ruled, when you realize that the true I is consciousness, the body is a vehicle for consciousness to experience this narrow band of frequency called the human world. But we are consciousness. You are a black man. I'm called a white man. We are expressions of the same consciousness. We are just having different experiences for a brief period called a human life. So what they are doing all the time is that they're saying, identify who you are by the labels of the human world. Identify the I as I am a man, I am a woman, I am this sexuality, that sexuality, I am this race, that race, this income bracket, that income bracket, and so on. That's how you define yourself. No, all of the things that I've just said are experiences. They're not labels, they're not us, they're experiences that we're having. The true I is consciousness, an eternal state of awareness. And that's what leaves the body at the end of what we call a human life. Now, when you see that, you see judging someone by the color of their skin is childlike nonsense, but also to allow ourselves to be divided on the base of the color of the skin, or the basis, is also childlike nonsense. But this cult has to get us to see the world like that, so that we can fight among ourselves. So someone who's got lots of money will look at someone who has nothing, and it won't be a problem to them, because I'm all right, Jack. But actually, we're all the same consciousness. Why should you have all that and this person have nothing? When this person's actually working harder than you are for his nothing or her nothing. It brings us back to this understanding that we are all one consciousness having different experiences. We are unique expressions of that consciousness, yes, because the experiences that we have that are different to other people, they give us a certain view of life, a certain uniqueness, which is brilliant to celebrate your uniqueness. But on the understanding of realizing that we're all one consciousness, we're all an expression of an eternal state of consciousness, and to allow the labels of a human life to divide and rule us is how we got into this mess.
Absolutely, and they're trying to make everyone feel submissive and live in fear from all the the fluoride in the water, and like by poisoning us, everybody in the air and everything, just creating a submissive environment.
Exactly, and that was perceptual control. And as the questioner rightly says, making people submissive. And this is a really important point. What's the antidote to submissiveness? It's self-respect. Self-respect. So if you're believing what authority tells you without question, you have no self-respect. You have no self-respect for your own perceptions, your own mind, to say, well, okay, you're telling me this, but I'm going to check this out before I believe you. And then you have the second group I talked about that doesn't want to do what authority says, but does it anyway because they fear the consequences. That is a lack of self-respect. And then the third group, which sees it and it says, no, we're not doing it, we're not having it. What makes their backbone stiff? Self-respect. You Gates, you Schwab, you Biden, not that it's Biden, he didn't know his name,
Wow.
are not going to tell me what I do with my life. You're not going to do it. I'm not having it. Because if I concede that to you, given you're a bunch of prats, I'm conceding my self-respect to you. And it's interesting because the whole thing is psychological. A few can only control 8 billion through the psychology of the 8 billion. And if you notice, there's always been morons in politics and political power. There always has been. But look at the number now. Look at the number of them all over the world. Johnson in Britain, Macron in France, Trudeau, my God, in Canada, Ardern in New Zealand, and this guy Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria in Australia, complete lunatic. And so why would they put blatant morons in power at this time? Because it's psychological. If they can get you to do what you know is a moron tells you to do, they got you. They got your self-respect. And once your self-respect is gone, only submission remains, because there's no bulwark against that submission. And that's exactly what the caller was talking about. And he was spot on.
Yeah. Wow. So we're going to run through the rest of these super chats. A lot of these I think you may have already answered already. So, feel free to keep them as brief as you'd like. So this next one here is saying, are the Archons a real threat or a part of a holographic matrix perpetuated by the puppets and their overlords? How do we have clarity amidst the chaotic madness, David? How do we escape the matrix?
I love it. I love it. You say,
Chat
please
room is
feel free to keep your answers short, and then you give me a question.
I know. That's why I don't want to overwhelm you, but it's just the questions that they're asking.
But, I don't mind, but
there we go.
It ain't going to be that short.
Yeah.
One of the things I said at just after the turn of the millennium is that this reality that we call the human world is actually a simulation. And I said the limits of the simulation in our reality is the speed of light. Speed of light is not the fastest speed. It's pedestrian compared with what's possible. But it's the fastest speed within this simulation. And 20 years later, in the spring of 2021, there was an article in Scientific American by an academic guy who said that he concluded that we do live in a simulation. And the limits of the simulation at this level, I would say, is the speed of light. And he related the speed of light to processing speed on a computer system.
Mm-hmm.
See, he pointed out that when you create a virtual reality computer game, this is a vastly advanced version of it, then you write the rules of the game. Now, I've been saying for decades that what we call the laws of physics in our reality are actually the rules of the simulation that's been written. You can't do this. This is the limitation of that. It's a limitation of that, because the rules of the game demand that. Which is why when people like near-death experiences have left the body and then come back, they describe a totally different reality outside the body as they do here, with different, what they call laws of physics, different possibilities. And so this simulation has actually been created by this non-human force to hijack our perception. And this simulation, when it started, they've been changing it ever since, but when it started, it was a digital copy of something that actually does exist, a reality that does exist and still exists, but we are tuned to this one. And so when you look at the way that the simulation works, it's hijacking perception. That's the whole reason for it, to put you in a fake reality that you believe to be real. Now, I mentioned earlier this Gnostic belief system goes back, way back in the ancient world. Well, in 1945, a earthen jar was found at a place called Nag Hammadi in Egypt, about 75 miles north of Luxor. And in that earthen jar were writings by these Gnostic people that are estimated to have been put in there about 400 AD. And a fifth of very substantial writings. And a fifth of these writings talked about these archons, which they described in my terms as a non-human force that was manipulating human society. And what they said, I nearly blew me away when I read it, because of what I'd said, about the simulation. They said 400 AD that these archons had created what we call the physical world. And they had done it by making a, quote, bad copy of what they call prime reality, this reality that exists beyond the simulation, which is a copy of it, basically, a fake copy of it. And that basically humanity was trapped in this fake copy, believing it to be real. And that the real world was outside of the simulation, not inside of it, what I would call a simulation. And interestingly, also, in these writings, they said that one of the great gifts, one of the great abilities of these archons was what they called, what we would translate it as virtual reality. Making people think they were experiencing something that they were not actually experiencing, except in their perceptions. And since I said that about that it being a simulation, just after the turn of the millennium, lots of people now in mainstream science are saying, actually, it does look like we live in a simulation. And if you go down that road, all these mysteries of science, of reality, they start to disappear, because the world suddenly makes sense. There was a guy called James Gates, who was a physicist, who was a science advisor to the Obama administration. And he led a team looking at the possibility that we live in a simulation. And what they found, in the energetic fabric of our reality, were codes that relate to what we would call computer codes and search engine codes. There was another guy called Silas Bean who led a team at the University of Bonn in Germany, asking the same question, and they concluded that we almost certainly do live in a simulation. There's a guy at NASA called Rich Terrell, who works in the computer area of NASA, who went public a few years ago and said that he'd concluded that we live in a simulation, a holographic simulation, in other words, illusory physical simulation, which is what I've been saying for decades, and that therefore, if it's a simulation, then some force must have created it because it's not natural. And so, you know, the weight of the evidence is starting to tease open minds, even in mainstream science, to say, well, hold on a minute, maybe this is a simulation. And so you've got this this situation where this non-human force has created this virtual reality illusion. And I explain in my books how it works and how we decode it. And their network within the simulation is manipulating human society in the knowledge that it's a simulation. I mean, people like, you know, Elon Musk. Do you remember when Elon Musk said, I think we could live in a simulation?
Yeah.
Well, he knows we do. That's the point. He knows we do. Your Gateses and these people and your Swabs, they know we live in a simulation. They just don't want us to know.
So it's very much like The Matrix. I assume you've seen The Matrix movie already.
Well, you know, when the first Matrix movie came out, I couldn't believe my luck. I don't know the motivation for making it, but it was a godsend to me because there was a visual representation of what I'm talking about. You know, and if you look at it, okay, they're outside the Matrix. They're in the ship, right? And they go in the Matrix with their minds. There's that probe goes into the back of the net, into the brain, basically, the brain stem.
That always got me, yeah.
Yeah, and they go into the Matrix with their minds. And they have bodies in the Matrix with their minds. And they come out of the Matrix back to their, quote, body on the ship, which has not moved. It's all in their minds. And this new book that's just come out called The Trap, and I've done an audio version of it as well. You can get it at davidicke.com. It goes into this whole area very deeply of how this entire reality is in our minds. And so when you take your mind back and you open your mind from the bubble, you start to see things that the bubble mind will not be able to see. The whole foundation of this control of humanity is to keep us perceiving everything, including the self, only through the five senses. Can I see it, touch it, hear it, taste it? Well, then it exists. If I can't, then it can't exist. This is basically the foundation of so much of what we call mainstream science. But when you open your mind, you go beyond the five senses. You start to see and perceive and understand and get insights into things that you would never see before. Because if you look at the five senses, they decode the world in a particular way. So I'm looking around me now, and I can see a computer, I can see lights, I can see a table, and between all the forms of what we call things, it seems to be empty space. That's how the five senses decode the world. So the reason for that is coming back to this band of frequency, visible light. The five senses, the sight senses, can only decode that band of frequency that we call things, forms. And anything that's not in the frequency of form, the five senses cannot see. So the perception, therefore, becomes things with empty space in between. That's how the five senses see the world. So you can understand why people in that mode believe that everything is apart from everything else and not connected.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go deeper into the field where the five senses can't go, you realize that actually this empty space is not empty at all. It's a field, an infinite field of consciousness, of energy. And you can symbolize it, even more than symbolize it, as a Wi-Fi field.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wi-Fi field, okay, if this where I am now has Wi-Fi, well, where is it? I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tune this computer to Wi-Fi,
Great example. Oh, that's great.
Suddenly a whole reality that exists outside my visual perception, Wi-Fi, becomes pictures, videos, people talking, texts, graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And all what the computer has done is take that information from the Wi-Fi field, a radiation field, which we can't see, and it's decoded it into what we see on the screen in a completely different form to what it is as a Wi-Fi field. Now we're doing exactly that. We're doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
A Wi-Fi field is frequency. It's vibrating radiation information, right? Okay, and the computer picks that up and decodes it into what we see on the screen. And if you think about it, the World Wide Web, which is a complete global reality that anyone can tap into if they have a computer or a phone or something, the only place the World Wide Web exists in the form that we see it on the screen is on the screen. Everywhere else, it's Wi-Fi field, codes and plugins and all that stuff. Only on the screen do we see the internet as we perceive the internet. And we're doing exactly the same. One of the things I pointed out in the books is that the technological world that's unfolding so fast is actually mimicking the reality that we're experiencing. Mm-hmm. So when okay, you put a headset on in a computer game, right? Mm-hmm. And you see people thrashing around. You know, they're in an empty room. There's nothing going on, but they're thrashing around because they're responding to the information being fed to what? To their five senses by the game. And therefore, it becomes real to them. Now, look at this. I mentioned this in my book, The Trap. Imagine you come out of the womb with a headset on, and you keep that headset on your entire life until you reach the other end. You are going to believe that what the headset is feeding you is true reality, even though it's not, right? So this is how it works. And this is not me making it up. This is, you look at mainstream science, you'll find this. When everything in this reality is vibrating information. It's waveform vibrating information, right? Including my speech. So I'm talking to you now, but the words that I'm speaking are not passing between you and me and the people listening to this. A vibrational field is. My vocal cords are vibrating a field of information, which through my system of communication, it is vibrating a certain way. Different words, different sentences, they're different vibrations. And they then go out and people pick that vibration up, what we call sound waves, and ears, and this is how all the senses work, decodes that sound wave into electrical information. And it communicates the electrical information to the brain, which then decodes it into digital and holographic information. And so everyone works the same. The tongue is picking up vibrational information, turn it into electrical information. It's communicating it to the brain, which then says, "Oh, that's horrible," or "Oh, that's lovely," when it decodes it. And there are pain relief systems now. I watched this done once, where the aim of it is to stop the communication from the point of pain to the brain. So you get a bang on the leg, say, or you've broken your leg and you've had an operation on the leg and it's very painful. This system seeks to stop a signal, electrical signal, going from the point of the pain to the brain. Because unless it hits the brain and the brain decodes it, you will not feel pain.
Yeah, you stop the perception.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything is going on in here. And so, I go into this in the books in detail, but I'm looking around this room now, and everything I'm seeing, which I perceive in the experience of being outside myself, is actually in here in the same way that the Wi-Fi field is in here. So the only place this world exists as we experience it is in here, just as the whole only place the Wi-Fi field as we experience it exists on the screen in the computer. Same principle, it's the same thing.
So we're like transistors. Like we're able to receive information, but we're also able to transmit information too, because our heart is putting out electromagnetic pulses, and this idea where we can't see ultraviolet rays, we can't see gamma rays and everything, but it's there. Explains why the law of attraction would work, or the 12 universal laws.
Hey, oxygen.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole point. Everything is a vibration, so a frequency. So when you feel emotion, when you feel hatred or anger or resentment or whatever, or fear, that's the big one. These are low, slow vibrational states. When you feel joy and love and happiness, these are high vibrational states. And so what they want to do is to bring us into low vibrational states, because these vibrational states relate to this archontic force, which is a low vibrational state. That's why it does what it does. It doesn't want people in high vibrational states. It wants people in low vibrational states. That's why it wants you trapped in the five senses, and also why it wants you in states of fear and anxiety and resentment, because these are low, slow frequencies, which keep you in its vibrational layer, if you like. So this is why people who are like depressed or whatever, they'll say, "God, I feel so heavy today." Oh, why does it feel heavy? Because the state that you are, the emotions that you are generating as frequencies, what we call vibes, are low and slow. And so your energy field gets low and slow and denser, and you feel, "I feel so heavy today." And then someone comes into the room who feels great joy, and something's happened or whatever, and they say, "Oh, I feel so light today," because that's a fast frequency that's quickening your energetic field in its frequency, and thus you feel light and not heavy. And so all these things are known about by this cult, and this is the foundation of the control. Why are secret societies secret? To keep secrets. Who from? The population. So this secret society network passes on all this knowledge through the highest inner levels of this secret society web, the cult, and keeps it from the population. And the population, therefore, has no idea of what is actually possible. They have no idea of the world they actually live in, and thus they cannot conclude what's going on because they don't have the information to make that conclusion because it's kept from them over here with the code. And what people like me are doing is taking that information as we uncover it and passing it on to the population and saying, this is what they don't want you to know. And what we talked about today, this has been great, I've loved it, is what they don't want you to know. And there's so much more, of course.
Yeah, they don't want us to know that serotonin is not actually the happy hormone. Serotonin is actually the submissive hormone. Do you know what I mean? We're supposed to be more pro-dopamine and less serotonin, but they want us to have less dopamine and more serotonin so that we're more submissive.
Well, that's an interesting point, because this is there are certain things you pick up over the years that are real gold dust in terms of understanding everything. From one thing, you can understand everything. And this cult works with the process and the technique of inversion. Everything it tells you is an inversion of the truth. You look at Satanists, because the Satanism is absolutely connected to this cult. The number of people, famous people in the world that I've followed, tracked out over the years that's led to Satanism and pedophilia is unbelievable. There's reasons for that I explain in the books. But it's all inversion. So if you look at Satanism, look at its symbols. It's the inverted pentagram. It's the inverted cross. Everything is upside down on purpose.
Right.
So take
the peace sign.
Take anything that they tell you and invert it, and you're going to get far closer to the truth, maybe even right on the truth, than you are if they take what they're telling you. The number of things I've come across over the years, one after the other, that you realize the truth is an absolute inversion of what they are telling you. They tell you you've got to lower your cholesterol.
Yeah.
They tell you you've got to take statins to lower your cholesterol because it's bad. Cholesterol, bad.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, cholesterol is absolutely vital to turning sunlight into vitamin D, right? And if you don't have enough cholesterol, you will not take in enough vitamin D from the sun, because the process that takes that turns one into the other is a vital central element of it is cholesterol. So they want you to lower your cholesterol. Yeah. So you'll lower the amount of sunlight you're getting, for instance, and that has multiple implications for health.
Testosterone.
Yeah, testosterone. Well, yeah, that's the agenda of toxic masculinity. And that's another area, because if you don't want human 1.0 to continue because you want human 2.0, what do you have to do? You have to stop human 1.0 procreating, producing the species of human 1.0. And this is why sperm counts all over the world, particularly in the West, but all over the world, are absolutely plummeting. I say to people, go and do some research on it. You'll see the speed that sperm counts are plummeting. And along with sperm counts plummeting, testosterone is plummeting. And testosterone is that which says, I'm not having it. So more and more men are not exhibiting the characteristics of the male, because testosterone is being reduced. So now you go to the other area here, which the doc can connect into, and that is why, out of nowhere, has this transgender explosion happened. Out of nowhere. It was not talked about at all, virtually not talked about, and suddenly it's dominating everything. Why? So these transgender activists, some of them will know what they're doing, most of them will not. They're just being played. you want to turn the human body into a non-procreating, what does that mean? Non-gender form. That's what they want, a synthetic, non-gender human. That's where they're going. So what you do is, first of all, before you can fuse the gender into a no-gender human, you have to confuse gender in people's minds. You have to scramble their minds in relation to gender. So at one time, it's biological man, biological woman. Now, and this is why they're going for the kids in the schools, and what scrambles your idea of gender more than a drag queen, a bloke with a beard in a dress, and they're targeting the kids because the kids are going to be the adults when they want to bring this in big time, full blown. And so this is not heading to the transgender human, transgender activists. It's not. It's heading for the no gender human. Now, if you have a no gender human, that's your goal, that's where you're going, then you don't need men and women anymore. And this is why, again, virtually out of nowhere and then everywhere, male masculinity was targeted. The toxic masculine male. And I said when that started, I said they're coming for the women next. And now they're coming for the women. And why? Because if you're going to a no procreating human, you no longer need men and women, because they're not meant to exist as a gender in this human 2.1 world that they're taking us into. And this is another reason why they are erasing step by step parental control and parental influence on their kids, and they're handing it to the schools, which is, and the social services, which is means handing it to the state. And so if you read Brave New World, he's talking about the fact that in the no procreating human world, where humans are created in what he called world state hatcheries in different castes based on manipulating genetics, worker class and elite class and all that stuff. He says in that world, there are no parents. The kids are procreated by the state and brought up by the state to do everything the state tells them without question. This is the world we're going into. And, you know, because of what's happened since the COVID era began, more and more people are opening their minds to, well, you know, after what's happened in the last 2.5 years, I mean, what's crazy anymore? But before that, as I know from my own experience, and I understand it, people, it was just too far out for people that this is going on. But it is. And I think the hardest thing to get across over these years has been the scale of pure, undiluted evil that we're talking about. And I define evil as the absence of love.
Wow.
The absence of empathy, the absence of compassion, the absence of love. If you can imagine, and almost everyone, if not everyone watching this show will not be able to imagine it personally, people setting out to create famine, to create world wars, all of which were created by this cult, as I documented in the books. If you sat down and thought, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think, yes, that's what I want to do, you'd think, no, what do they say? They'd never do that. No, you'd never do that. They are doing it because their scale of evil is almost beyond comprehension.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Wow.
Wake up.
Sorry, this cat's just gonna
Yeah,
do
this
his
is
own
cat.
thing. Get out of here, Marie.
You're dropping so much knowledge the cat kids came across. Usually
Yeah.
act crazy. Man, this is heavy. Listen, everybody.
Yeah, it's heavy, but we need to know it. We need to face it, and then we can stop it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I go back. There's 8 billion of us, and there's a relative handful of them. Of course, you know, I see a way out of this. but only if we are adult enough and mature enough to face what's going on and then say we're not having it and refuse to cooperate with it, and then it's over.
That's true.
Let's go, y'all. Wake up.
We got another question here. Are you familiar with Jordan Maxwell? I assume you are.
Yeah, I know Jordan. Yeah.
Someone's asking, do you have any knowledge on why Jordan Maxwell's passing away was on a skull and bones date 3/22/22, or was that coincidence?
No, I don't know about that, but I do know. I met Jordan a number of times over the years. He was operating at the time out of San Diego, and I met him a couple of times in Europe as well. That he was very skilled in the area of symbolism.
Yeah.
And symbols are very, very important, because we go back to where I was talking about a few minutes ago about everything's a vibration. A symbol is a vibration. It's a frequency. The nature of the symbol dictates the frequency. Again, I explain all this in the books as well.
Pyramid.
And therefore, if you know, they don't have the pyramid and all-seeing eye on the dollar bill and the reverse of the Great Seal of the United States by accident. It's by design. It's giving off a frequency. And if you look at some montages that have been done on the internet from children's cartoons and children's TV programs, you will see again and again the pyramid and all-seeing eye in kids' cartoons, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's a frequency, and frequencies carry information, and they're seeking to put that information into the subconscious of those that see it. I mean, you've got the Statue of Liberty. We talk about an inversion. The Statue of Liberty is holding the torch of liberty. Well, that's what we're told. But the Statue of Liberty was given to New York by French Freemasons in Paris that knew exactly what it was. It's an image of the ancient cult goddess going back to the ancient world. And the lighted torch is not a symbol of liberty. Inversion, invert everything. It's a symbol of one name for the satanic god, Lucifer, the light bringer. And illuminated, Illuminati, illuminated. And so, you know, most people don't know this, and I didn't till I saw it, on an island in the River Seine in Paris is a mirror image of the Statue of Liberty. It's smaller, but it's a mirror image, because that's where the Statue of Liberty came from. French freedom is what it meant. So symbolism is very, very powerful. And that's why it's put around us all the time, and they're seeking to impact upon the subconscious of the population, so that, you know, if they communicated direct to the conscious mind, then the conscious mind's got a good chance of going, I see what you're bloody doing. But if they get it into the subconscious mind, subliminally, meaning below the threshold of the conscious mind, then it filters through to the conscious mind from the subconscious. And at that point, the person thinks they're having their own thoughts, they're having their own perceptions, their own opinions, when actually it's been put into the subconscious subliminally to feed through to the conscious mind. And that's why they use subliminal advertising.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've used a picture in some of my books, and it's a subliminal picture. And all it is, it's 4 plants, flowers, plants. And there's a subliminal in it. And 95% of people don't see it. They can't see it. Oh, I don't know what's there. And then you point it out that the white bits between the plants spell out the word sex. Now, the reason I mention that is that from that moment when you've pointed it out, who have you pointed it out to? The conscious mind. And because before it was in the subconscious mind, the conscious mind couldn't see it. From the moment you point it out, every time that person sees that picture again, the first thing they see is the subliminal. The first thing they see is the word sex, which they couldn't see before, because it's come from the subconscious to the conscious, and therefore they can see it. And that's what, people like me are doing. We're taking this stuff out of the hidden, the subconscious, and putting it before the conscious mind of people so that they can see things that otherwise they wouldn't see, not because they're stupid, but because, you if you don't research these things, then obviously you're not going to see what's really going on.
Yeah, Disney is well known for those subliminals as well.
Cult to its DNA, to the end of its fingernails, to the end of its toenails, to the end of whatever. DNA, cult, Disney. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cult Disney, I like that. Cult Disney.
Yeah, even the logo has 3 6s on it and everything. It's amazing how much the 6s are all over the place, especially like in the chrome symbol. It's interesting.
Cult Disney,
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to go in a sec.
Okay, we got another one here. I wanted to get to you. Someone said here they had a life-altering encounter with an interdimensional reptile about 12 years ago. Found Mr. Icke's work, and it has forever changed his life. He says, "Thank you, David and Priest, for everything you do."
Well, that's very kind. But when I first came out, and of course, there's people still laugh now. Well, he says reptiles run the world and all that stuff. Okay. Well, I think there's more to know than just that. Have you ever thought of looking into it? I've been researching this reptilian thing now for about 25 years. You haven't researched it for 25 seconds, and you're dismissing it. Mm-hmm. So when I came out with it, it wasn't pulling it out the ether. This was talking to large numbers of people around the world, not least America, who've had the experience that the gentleman's talking about. And then you hear how they describe what they experienced, and the common themes are amazing. Someone on the West Coast, someone on the East Coast, someone in Australia, somewhere in Britain, they're describing the same basic experience and the same nature of the entity that they experienced. So people say, why can't we see these reptiles if they exist? Well, because overwhelmingly they operate outside of visible light. That's why. And when they enter visible light, you have these experiences, but it's rare compared with the amount of time that they don't enter visible light. Because if you put something on public display, if these entities just appeared in front of everybody, you'd go, I get it now. These people or these entities are manipulating our world. I get it. But if you can't see them, then you wave your hand and you say, that's nonsense. That's not possible. No, this is the thing. The possibility does not exist only when people believe it's possible. Possibility exists, whether you believe it's possible or not. Possibility exists. Therefore, just because people think something is not possible doesn't mean it's not happening. That's the point we need to grasp.
That's right.
Very good. And something to help towards the end here. Hidden Prophet asks, how can we bring together everyone from all colors to unite in harmony with peace and prosperity for all to go against this cult of the serpents?
Yeah, well, I kind of mentioned that earlier. It's about self-identity. I am not David Icke. That is the name given to an experience that my consciousness, eternal, infinite, is currently having. Killah Priest is the name of an experience that you are having. You are the same eternal, infinite consciousness that I am. And if we go back in our self-identity of the I to that level of consciousness in which we're all a unique expression, then we can start to see the nonsense of divide and rule. My religion, I have no problem with people believing in different religions. I have no problem with people in different types of body. Of course I don't. My problem with religion is when, and not just religion, but all belief systems, People should believe whatever they want to believe. I have a simple philosophy. Do what you like as long as you don't impose it on anyone else. But this is the problem. People feel the need to impose on everyone else. Mm-hmm. So a certain genetic type wants to be the ruler, that run things. A certain income bracket wants to run things, wants to impose their will on everyone else. A certain religion wants to impose their will on everyone else, as we've seen with religions over the years, some of the horrors that they've done in the name of their religion being dominant. And this is the thing. It's to realize that's all nonsense. We are all one consciousness having different experiences, and we all face a common threat from another state of consciousness that's so bewildered, so chaotic, so inverted, so distorted that it seeks to impose its will on every other expression of consciousness in its realm. And it can only do that if we allow ourselves to be divided and ruled. And how do we do that? We self-identify with the labels of a human life instead of self-identifying with the one consciousness that we all are, none excluded.
Wow. Very well said. We have someone asking if you think that flat Earth is a psyop.
I you know something, I've followed my intuition on everything, and it's been incredibly effective for me over the decades, where my intuition has told me to go here, my intuition has told me to go there, and I've gone there, and a great understanding has followed from that. And my intuition has never told me to go down the road of the flat Earth. And is it a psyop? Well, there's lots of psyops around, but you know, people must believe what they want to believe. Like, going back to what I just said, if people think, well, I've seen enough information to make me believe the Earth is flat, well, you believe that. And if you haven't, well, I believe it's round, then you believe that. Mm-hmm. But it's the imposing of, or the seeking to impose one belief system on another. That's the problem. That's the whole basis in so many ways. Mm-hmm. of the mess we've got ourselves into. Just chill out. You want to believe the Earth's flat? Good on you, mate. All the best. Mm-hmm. You want to believe it's round? Good on you, mate. All the best. The problem is when that has to impose itself on that or that on that or whatever. So, you know, anything that confuses, anything that divides, needs to be addressed, because and needs to be questioned in the sense of, well, who or what's really behind it? Because dividing us and setting us at war with each other is actually another major, massive foundation of how we got into this situation. And it's really simple. You know, people say, what's the solution? I'm really not interested in solutions. I'm interested in removing the cause of the problem. Because you look at, okay, here's a solution to this. But the solution often invariably leads to another problem, which needs another solution. The way to remove problems is to remove the cause of the problem. And the cause of the problem, we've discussed it here, is people believing authority without question, people being frightened not to do what authority says, even if they don't want to do it, people allowing themselves to identify with the human labels and therefore divide and rule becomes a cinch. All these things are causes which, if we didn't do them, the solution would take care of itself. We don't need a solution, because without the cause, the problem can't exist.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was beautiful, man.
You have a lot of fans in the chat. Someone says, my dad Terry and I have every David Icke book. They said he met you. He's a rapper in UK named David. He said you both spoke about him becoming a rapper.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've met loads of rappers
nice.
over the years around America and Britain, and a lot of rappers have seen through the illusion.
Yeah, it's great to hear rappers put quotes of you into their songs. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
I feel very honored if they do, you know. But
absolutely.
you know, I mean,
Right.
music's a great way of getting this information across. Absolutely.
The number one is used is reptilians. Everybody talk about reptilians since
Yeah.
David Icke.
Well,
You coined it.
as a producer, I always aim to tune to 432 hertz. Do you know what I mean? Just to have a better vibration, because I'm sure you already know about the tuning of the music industry being off tune, but we're trying to go with the Fibonacci and go with the 432 hertz,
Yeah.
528 hertz, and try to have some kind of harmony, at least with the vibrations of music that we're putting out to the world. You know what I mean? Because we're not under the music Illuminati, so to speak, of the establishment trying to, bring people to a lower frequency. Killer Priest music is very much high frequency, if that. You know what I mean? So we're trying to maintain that and definitely be in opposition to the dark side.
That's good stuff. I'm with you.
And bringing reality and bringing the truth to the people. And bringing truth to the people is getting people as yourself. And like he said, a collective mind, us standing up strong and outside the bubble, outside the box is what it's all about. And you see us bringing a reality and the truth to you. It's up to us now to stand up, because the message I'm getting, what you're coming with, is just simple. Wake. Just get wake. Just be awake. Come together and let's form this collective, powerful, and take back our power. What we don't do.
Yeah.
Stop giving it away.
By
for
giving it
free.
away that we got here.
Yeah. What you mean? What you said, Dave?
It's by giving our power away that we got here.
Absolutely.
The power of this cult and its expressions in authority is only the power we give them in the form of acquiescence. Again, remove the problem by removing the cause. Stop giving your power to authority. Stop doing what it tells you when quite obviously it's there just to further instigate mass control.
Yeah, we got to stop being submissive and question everything.
Absolutely.
Especially
you start questioning things, your mind opens.
Mm-hmm.
You don't question things, your mind stays shut.
Nice. Well said.
Man. Let's make some noise for him. We got any more readers? I know you have to go now soon. But do we have any other super chats?
A lot of people just giving props and everything. Shout out to Ceaseless. One says, as human beings, are we supposed to be communicating as quickly as we do? I would assume, yeah. We just got to watch out with information, but.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get information by communication, verbal communication, written communication, but you can also get information from the field. You know, we are interacting with a field of consciousness, a field of awareness that contains infinite insight, knowledge, awareness, perception. And when you go into this 5 sense bubble, what you're doing is you're basically disconnecting yourself through the bubble from this field of infinite knowledge, awareness, insight. When you open your mind, you are literally opening your mind potentially to infinite possibility, infinite knowledge, infinite insight. And that is why when people open their minds and start to question, and then their mind opens. They start to see how dots connect. Whereas before they couldn't see how the dots connect, they could only see dots. Then suddenly you see how they connect, and the whole panorama of control and panorama of infinite possibility then opens to you. That's why they want us in the 5 senses, so we don't go through that process.
Absolutely. Very well said. Awesome.
Man, I mean, so informative. What's your newest book you got going?
Called The Trap. It's just out. It's available in America. It won't be posted from Britain. It will be posted from within America, so you'll get it within a couple of days. And I do really go deeply into the whole kind of reality thing and where this control system is really coming from and how we can escape it, because the trap is escapable. It absolutely is, but only when you know the nature of the trap.
Wow, I can see it's so it's on Amazon right
and
now.
yeah, you can get it from davidicke.com, and there's also an audio version. I read the book on audio. That's available as well.
Nice. Well, we're gonna put a link to your website in the description box.
Yes.
Okay, mate, thanks.
And when I come out to Europe, man, we have to have lunch together.
Oh, we
know?
will, mate. Yeah, absolutely. When are you coming?
Soon. We're putting some dates together right now. I'll keep in touch, man. Shout out to my man Vinny too.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to meet, mate. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we want to say shout out to Vinny B for arranging this meeting today. So thank you so much, Vinny B, for that.
Great.
This has been awesome. Any other words?
I mean, it's all up to the great David Icke, man. You got you answered a lot of questions, and we got a lot of things out. We didn't go through the Queen. I know the Queen had recently passed away, and what was that about? Yeah.
Don't start me.
Huh?
Don't start me on the royal family. Oh my God.
I mean, we got a little bit of time. You know, that was one thing I really wanted to get into.
Next time
Okay.
we can have a chat about the royal family. Yeah.
Yes. But we got a lot of information out, though.
That would be awesome to have a part 2 of this.
Oh, do you think we could do a part 2?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I'll talk about the royal family. I mean,
Mm.
I mean, let's say I wasn't queuing for 24 hours to see the Queen's coffin. I've done a lot of research into those people over the years, and it's not nice.
Wow.
But by the way, how in any free society can you have a head of state of Britain and the Commonwealth only on the basis of one family and who had sex with who in what order? I mean, it's insane. But people, still believe it because they're looking up to authority. But lots of people now in this country are rejecting the whole idea, and so they should.
Very nice. We got someone in the chat saying that they love you and they've been watching you since the Credo videos.
Oh yes, Credo. Yeah, I did a 6-hour interview with Credo.
That was amazing too.
Talking to him, he was an amazing man. I met him quite a few times for quite long periods, and he went on a little tour of Africa for me and showed me all these different things and what they mean. He was an amazing man, and right into his 90s, he was still going. He's an incredible man.
He transcended back to the essence. I take it the way you.
Yeah, he would have done. Yeah, Credo for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, he'd have escaped the trap. That's for sure. He was well aware of it.
How important was that? It's gonna keep going.
Yeah, we can go on forever, huh?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, how important was
We'll
that?
talk next time.
Yeah, next time.
Yeah.
Next time.
Love the information
All right.
that you put out with Brian Rose on the London Reel. That was awesome.
Oh, thanks, mate. And I really look forward to chatting with you in England sometime.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna do that. We definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure that we do that. And as soon as I set up, the shows are being set up right now. Or
Nice.
Okay,
that's them. All right, so
it's been a real
chat
pleasure, man.
room, the great David Icke himself on the Killah Priest Podcraft. We are so honored, so blessed. We're gonna let you off with honor. Open up the doors, and we're gonna open up the doors, and we're gonna let you off. We're gonna beam you off. Then we're gonna go to another galaxy.
Oh,
Thank you
I
for
look
coming
forward to
through.
that.
Thank you so much, David.
Thanks, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Peace. There you have it. There you have it. Craft room. There you have it.
Man.
We talked it, we spoke it, and it actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Man, that was very
That was great.
enlightening. My mind is like, boom, man. So much to unpack, unplug with. I mean, thinking outside the bubble. A lot of people, man, he brought a lot of truth. Make sure you do your research about everything we talk about on here, and look it up yourself, man.
Yeah, he was going in.
Yeah, he went in. Somebody said, boom, guess who stepped up in the room?
That was
So,
good.
and you got to remember, Thank you, Janie. Janie says so cool, KP. Somebody liking my shirt too. You got to remember, today is so much different, and I'm gonna say this. Remember, it's retrograde, right? When did we do a show on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
It's different. It's just different.
Podcraft going up on a Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just different. It's a different feel. It's a different mind state.
And in the morning at that, I'm supposed to be asleep right now, but it's all good. I went to bed early, woke up early. It's probably the way I'm supposed to do it anyway.
Yep.
But yo, that was great.
Yeah, man, that was incredible, man.
Can't wait for a part 2.
Oh, you said that we're gonna be out in London drinking tea, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it with the I don't know. I should have asked him what's his favorite tea, matcha or oolong.
We didn't have time for too much small talk, but he was just knocking it out nonstop.
Yeah. And thank you for your super chats, everybody who came through. Thank everyone who came through.
Yeah,
this has been great, been mind blowing. Everything's been just how I imagined, and I think it's kind of exceeded even that.
Yeah.
AD.
I only shouted out the super chats that were actually asking questions, but shout out to everybody else. Shout out to Danny Salinas, Kermit, Aquarius Helix. Let's see, who else did I miss? Shannon Southern, sorry I didn't get to ask him about the 5G.
It's all right. He's coming back for part 2.
He's coming back. We did the
shout out to my
FE1.
man Katia. He was gonna come through, and a whole bunch of everybody who support, man. Knowledge Born and everybody who's down with the click. About with the rocket ship that's shooting off Vinny. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to know that we need to we have to also build up our energy and keep our everything love, keep it respectful, stay in a respective state. That way we can continue to grow, and as a collective, stop the fighting and start the growing. You know what I'm saying? Because they got everybody manipulated and everything going against each other anyway. We had a super chat.
Yep. Shout out to Where There's Bond, son. Shout out to Cleo. I didn't get a chance to ask him about the Jacob one.
Yeah, we got 18.
Where There's Bond, oneness reigns supreme and gratitude always wins.
Yeah.
Botanical Brother says, thank you for hosting such a great guest. Blessings to you, Mr. Ike and Mr. Priest.
Yeah.
Seal Fink says, as human beings, are we supposed... Okay, I did that one already. True Sika, what up, True Sika? How you doing, bro? He says, Priest. And David Ike, yes, sir.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta come out with a single. You know what I mean? Make sure... So we got some people up in the building today.
We got a request for Saffron, so yeah, we can play that later.
Yeah, we're going to get into the music. Make sure y'all go out and get Mother. It's out right now. A lot of people, man, y'all give me so much love. It inspired me, and I'm going to keep on going, going to keep on moving. And a matter of fact, me and AD going to put some ideas together after this. So we're going to keep it moving while y'all in the building. And let's pick it up, AD. Let's get to the music.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Hold on, we're almost there. Almost there. Danny Salinas, can I play a song? Yes, just send it. Green Ave says, would love to hear you guys discuss psychedelics, mainly DMT. One of the yes, that would be awesome. That'd be something to go into because the DMT experience, I think, exposes exactly what he was talking to as far as us being in a simulation. Especially because anecdotally people speak upon the grid that they see. They see a grid, almost like a matrix-like grid, a lot of symmetry, a lot of kaleidoscope type things where everything looks so numeric, as if though you're inside an actual like computer. Mm-hmm. But that's supposed, that's DMT. So we're gonna play Saffron, and Jeffrey says just showing some love. Yeah. All right, now we can go into the music. But yeah, it can be a challenge to shoot all these super chats. I knew it was going to be a lot of super chats today, but man, we did the best we could. So that was cool. So shout out to everybody for that.
Exactly.
Now we're going to go into the music. So there's not a show tomorrow. Olemi Cattle. No show tomorrow. This is the second show of the week.
Yeah.
For those who are new watching us for the first time out there, welcome to the Killah Priest podcast. Be sure to hit the like and hit the subscribe because we have a lot of interesting guests that come on this show. And if you look back to our old episodes, you'll see other guests that we've had, such as Jordan Maxwell. We've had Santos Bonacci, Bro Sanchez, just to name a few. Yeah.
Where we at? Did we get to 60K yet?
I haven't checked, but we will find out.
All right, moderators, get up on it. Man, hit that like and that subscribe. Let's go. Man, I'm feeling great today.
700 watching, 740.
Hey, wow. It was moving up.
A lot of new viewers out there. So
yeah, man, come on in. And we're here every Monday and every Wednesday, normally at 5 Pacific. We'd be up here, we'd be dropping that. And I like what he said about solutions. You know what I'm saying? It's about moving the problem. If you take away the problem, you won't have to do a solution. So take it a step further. You know what I mean? So that way, that means go beyond your limit. When you get to your limit, reach a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You did your 10 push-ups, do that. When you do your 10, you completed your cipher. That's it. Your set is done. What happens when you push one more extra?
push one more. Go that extra. Push it to the limit.
Yeah. That 11, then you go into that. Yeah, push it to the limit. So you're at your limit, but you got to go beyond your limit.
Go beyond.
And then you'll see the realms of, oh man, my mind have overcame my body and my capacity level that I set for myself. I went into the etheric realm of I'm in the 11 zone now.
Yeah.
You've surpassed 10 and you added another one to that cipher.
Yeah.
So now you knowledge. Now you all the way up in there.
You never stop learning.
Yeah.
Learning is endless.
Yeah.
You know, some say that we're not actually learning, we're just remembering.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's endless. I like what he was saying about how, because we're all living our own experience in this world, that there's no need to push anything on anybody else necessarily. So
that's right.
That's why it's easy to respect everyone else's religion, whatever someone else believes in, because they're all going through their own experience separately.
Well, you do you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do you. You know what I'm saying? How you draw up your truth, you draw it up to where you see it at, you know? And but the problem is when you're trying to push your belief systems on everybody else, and there's a problem with that. That's going into, I forgot the name of it, but that's going into, well, you're definitely damned if you don't believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's like holding on to something, and you're just in your own little hologram, bugging out for that. You have to let go of those things. Let go.
That's when they say somebody is projecting.
Yeah, you stop
like, oh, you're just projecting
go.
because we're all projectors. We're all light,
Yeah.
So if someone says projecting their views, they're just projecting. So
yeah,
take it for what it is.
Beat you into believing what I believe. What happens if you don't? The person doesn't.
Yeah.
Then you go into that turmoil in your own self, and whatever it is, you become narcissistic minded and blinded and broken, where you have to refix that self. The thing is fixing self, going into fixing self, to build up self, to heal. Once you heal yourself, then you can get out of that, that trap you set up for yourself, or the trap they set up for you. Get out that trap. Thanks, David Icke. We out that trap now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Got to create a bubble, like a shield against everyone's negativity.
Yeah.
That can be the challenging part. And sometimes the best way to set up a shield is to forgive.
Yeah.
Now we're getting biblical because the Bible talks about that, to forgive others. We're not forgiving them for them. We're forgiving them for us. You know what I mean? So that they're not in our heads. We forgive that person and at the same time forget situations so that we can just exist in our own world.
In the collective body, because it's not actual body, but like he said, we are a body.
Yeah.
Once a righteous body, or a body rehearsing the righteous acts. So when we start, we got a collective, well, everybody got the same type of, maybe different missions, but we have the same type of viewpoints. We know that there's more to it.
Yeah.
So we become a body, like Voltron.
Yeah. Well, people who do psychedelics have a common theme to where they say that we are all connected.
Yeah.
Even Bob Marley spoke about us being all one.
Yeah. One love. Let's get together and we'll be and feel all right. So yeah, he said one.
And what is love? LOVE.
Highest form of understanding.
Living one vibrational energy.
That was good. Living one's vibrational energy. That's right. Put that in your pipe.
And smoke it.
Yeah,
keep your vibration high.
Put that in your Merkaba circle or macabre. You put that in your macabre wheeling.
Yeah, we need to get a macabre pipe.
Activate that. You know what I'm saying? Remember Merkaba and macabre.
Oh, that's right.
It's like tomato and tomato.
Merkaba.
That's the original Hebrew word to say it. The macabre is just a regular say it. So there's Merkava too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get this work today. Somebody said that. Super Gang. All right, so we ready for the music?
Let's do it. Okay.
Shout out to Voltage that's in the building.
Shout out Voltage. Yeah. For those who don't know, we have a segment in our show that we call Song Promotions, where we play tracks that were submitted to the show by, producers, DJs, artists of all sorts. So we have today's submissions for the show already lined up, and we're going to get to it right now. The first submission that we have is from an artist named The DJ from Guam.
Shout out to the Guam.
Featuring Killah Priest.
The Guam show.
From Brooklyn, New York. I think he's played this before. And it's called Love Shots.
Pow, pow.
Yeah.
And that day we saw Killah well. Let me break it down
country where the monks be.
Right out there.
Mm-hmm.
In the trees with the monkeys. Egyptians hold the Ankh keys.
That's you in the booth.
Snake venom, great emblem, above a lake with naked women. Go through your heart with peace by your door. The chief speaks of the Moors. Eyes watch, one flinch, reach for your swords. Who's keeping score? You die, you weeping more. Teeth on the floor. This is savage madness. Practice, the world is backwards. Duck, duck, these are love shots. Duck, these are love shots. Alright, Book of Revelation. I take the head of Satan like Jason. Hold it in front of the nations. Wings open up like a raven. Unseen like the Masons. In the ring like the pagans. From the hills we be racing. During nighttime I write rhymes to fight crime. Superhero, the hookah widow. People in the loops in their earlobes. Star seas, Star Sirius. Gods in the pyramids. War, here come to charge the villages. Star seas, godly, safari. Alien armies, dark trees. Love conquers all. Love shots, love shots. Love conquers all. Love shots, duck, duck. These are love shots, love shots. No blood drop, love shots. Dark horse, God force. Supreme Mike sauce, you are right off. The monk with the stick. On the trunk near the pit, never once sick. Drunk till he piss. Fighter plane, my writing is strain. Alien blood inside my veins. Migraines, Killah Priest fill my fleet. Coming, sky thundering. Hear the trump and the thump of the sword in your stomach. Witch hunt. Bodega 95, Omega I'm a ride. Favor Amun Ra.
Hey.
Sage. Ganja for a jar. Love that neighbor even though he's a hater. Love find favor. Swing the lifesaver, take the life. Neighbor. Love shots. Love shot. Pop, pop. Love shot. Let it drop. Love shots. Love shots. Pop, pop. There's no blood drop. Love shots. Guam.
Hey. All right, so check that out.
Shout out to the Guam.
Make sure y'all follow the DJ from Guam on YouTube.
Had a great time out there, man.
Yeah.
You got to come out there, AD.
Where's it at again?
You gonna? It's out in Marina.
Marina Del Rey?
No, Marina, California.
Where's that? Is it more than a half hour away?
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
Yeah, he never goes nowhere, man. We gotta get AD out. You only did that one Rock the Bells with me.
Yeah.
Perform. That was dope. That was dope.
I was DJing for you in the back.
Yeah.
Yo, at that show, they handed me a mic, asked me if I wanted to be like your hype man.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't know any of your tracks. I said, no. For this, I said no to that. For the sake of the performance, I'm like, no. I don't want to be the goofball up there doesn't know his tracks. You know what I mean? I didn't want to ruin your show.
No, you didn't.
I was like, no, I'll just DJ.
Yeah. We did, yeah, they got me up early. I'm up here. Early bird gets the worm.
Man.
Early bird gets the worm. Always remember that. If you're up, let your wings spread. May you have one of the prosperous days ever. I mean, I'm just full of catechins and theanine. Look up catechins, look up theanine, look up these dopamine, natural dopamine, just boom, 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 and all type of thoughts, you know, for exposure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was going in talking about submissiveness and how people are just like.
So, yeah, it kind of like brings it home to where we at, man. We had a lot of great speakers up here, you know, talk about the mind. If y'all new, go check out some of the old episodes and you will see that we had a lot of great minds up here that were building. Let's go to the next. Where we at?
All right. Next up, we got, let me see. Hold on. We've got DJ Vulture from Detroit.
Myself looking real peachy. Peach tree, peach fuzz. Shout out to Jet Life. I see you.
DJ Vulture has a track here.
Oh, DJ Voltage?
No, Vulture.
Oh, DJ Vulture. Hey.
Shadow Unit. The smoke got me.
All right, let's go.
Here we go.
Hypnosis, halitosis, and my boys are boasters. And boys just boast that some ain't ghosting, spirit seeking gnosis. And that means knowledge not controlling, flow like COVID hoaxes. Cause bitch, my interest is in overflow. My soldiers know this, hopeless, homeless, soulless, brainless. That's the concrete with a tape that makes it use. You build a framework of enslavement, come into the framework. It's getting way worse. These fucking Satan bankers, gangsters just keep getting braver. Shit up in their face, blatant, like they don't know danger. They fucking savor the flavor of inflicting pain. The haters of humanity, love calamity, Illuminati families, every planning tragedy for centuries. This shit ain't legit.
Like industrial rock hop. I dig the vibe.
Systematically controlling these happenings, happily destroying everything. They get the grubby hands on actually manufacturing disease, programming your reaction using frequencies, transmitting your beliefs to you through the TV or your Samsung Galaxy. Pushing Facebook life between you and your family. Dividing up the strategy is classic control tactics executed savagely so that we never see behind the scenes and seeing dominant demons and interdimensional entities like 72 servitor beings release that bullet scheme. And it seems to me that no one is noticing how extreme this shit is gotten and what that all could mean.
DJ Vulture, Shadow Unit. I dig the vibe. Kind of reminds me of Corporate Avenger, maybe like an Insane Clown Posse type of vibe. I get it. But I see you have the words on screen, but I feel like you're putting a little bit too much processing on the vocals. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to really hear what you're saying. I know you're going for that processing effect, but I think if you go a little bit cleaner, I would go something more like what Beastie Boys do for Sure Shot. You know what I'm saying? You see how like they put a little bit of distortion on their vocals, but you could understand what they're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Too much. We won't get.
No, I know. So it's like it's just a little bit of distortion on the vocals so that you can. It sounds like they're like in some kind of auditorium somewhat, and it's just cranked like an overdrive. You know what I mean? That's as much effect as I would put on the vocals if I were you, so that you can hear what you're saying. That's it. Everything else is cool. Yeah. All right, so that's that for that. Let's keep it moving. Next up, when they got Lord Galaxar. We got a track. It's called Full Steppin' from the Gamma Quadrant. Lord Galaxar. Here we go.
Born on a ball of dirt, some inhabitants call it Earth. I realized my purpose, knocked the holes out the church. Rode the wave down the body surf. Swear to God, she's a flirt. 12-inch slit up the side of her miniskirt. Stuck to me like an enemy, can't get rid of her. Name's Renee, but just for fun I call her Jennifer. Make the earth spin for her. Fuck it, I make her the owner, the cream of the motherfucking universe. Spaceship from the sevens into heaven, that's my ride. Galaxy strong to the finish like Popeye. Just did a song with Gifted, that's my guy. 3% on the phone, bitch, that's bye-bye. My knowledge universal like Galaxy High. Did the knowledge at 12, did the wisdom at 25. 45, no job, the vibes like God, Cypher Divine. Teaching 85, God, I'm trying. Sperm cells on the decline, shoot my kids all in or behind. This that slick Rick 89. Rick James 85, Richard Pryor live on Sunset. Knocking hoes down, but where my fun's at? Back to pimp slaps, park hoes like Cadillacs. I paint the whip, the code look like Battle Cat. Baby, can you handle that? I rap a taste, smack the whole out of her mind. Get on her case, then I'm flying in the wind. Stupid watch like Ben 10. Dog the bitch like Ren 10. Here we go, like DJ running. Out here knocking pimps hoes, bro, Galaxy running. Let my weed dry in the oven. Door open, temp 110. 30 minutes later, I was buzzing. Sweating the fat mama like we playing the dozens. Big bitch, pussy good as stovetop stuff. Shout out my mama and all my cousins. I don't fuck with none of them, but I still love them. Yeah. My clown got caught saying amethyst in the headband. Play with Lord Galaxar, use a dead man. Stomping out of muddy waters like Redman. Pfizer jab twice, one in my head, one in my hand. Mark of the beast. The less melanin, talk of the peace. To the east, little hoe, keep walking east. When I pull up, I wanna see them hills smoke. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't wanna hear none of that. I know I'm God's Cypher Divine. I don't worry about my mission, bitch. You worry about yours. Keep these hoes on all fours doing chores for the Lord. You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah, just some of that shabada, nee, knocky, nah, nicky, nah, nicky, nee. Yeah, bitch, don't let me put this golf suit on and go upside your head with one of these motherfucking 9-irons, bitch. Cancel Galaxar? Hell, bitch, you be better off trying to cancel Dave Chappelle. I don't give a shit who you tell, bitch. My essence is in the air, bitch. I'm everywhere. Go!
Hey.
Fire.
Shout out to Lord Galaxar.
Sure,
Oh shit.
yeah.
Those Contra just fucked up.
Yeah, keep the whores on all fours to serve the Lord.
Yes, man.
Yeah, that's so funny, man.
Y'all follow the infamous Galaxar for more.
Ah, that round two.
You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Lord Galaxar always doing his thing.
Indeed. That was fire.
Let's keep it moving.
Yep.
Coming up next now, we got DJ Aurora Borealis.
Aurora.
Track is called Academia Rap, produced by Aurora Borealis.
Listening.
Yo, check it, 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 yo, do re mi fa sol la ti do e ni mi ni ma na mo. These MCs are those are dear female dear my neck Illuminati like a ray a drop of gold or sun which one poses as my foe which one a threat all of them I chase him down like Pontius Pilate did the child of breath for her, except nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, but to fall off the edge of the earth without space you on. Turn you to a fireball, Icke, omnipotent, omnipresent, the earthquake that cracked when I got killed. Cumulus shed tears, my enemies running bare, told me, have myself my own religion, spine tingling, better than rock sex. Yo, check it, 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 yo. And you must close your head, bullet, pointed at your cranium, misspread your stature, bread, your YD with the address, keys out your pockets. Swatty couldn't spot me with a rocket, satellite. I'm out of sight, I'm a bright light thief in the night, loose leaf. I move like Bruce Lee, a ninja, Jet Li. I collect skulls and rap battles by the power of Great Skull. It's He-Man, master of the universe, comets, asteroids, meteorites, everything dispersed. All matter, all elements, Armageddon, the final battle for once is trampled.
Hey.
Yeah, we said at the same time.
Okay. I like how he's keeping it short and sweet. Again with the
That was
vocals. Yeah, I would just bring the effects down on the vocals. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to be heard with that clarity. 'Cause, I mean, you're saying some more and more good stuff.
Slipping in the darkness.
Aurora Borealis, you keep improving.
Yep. I like it, brother. Let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Okay, who am I missing here? This one was yesterday.
Yesterday seems so far away.
Mm-hmm. I think we did that one yesterday. Okay. Next up,
Yeah, I believe that's me.
we got the Mighty Hebrew. I was supposed to play it yesterday,
Oh, shout out to the Mighty Hebrew, man.
but I told him we're gonna get to him today. So, that up and running right. Here we go. This is a ninth song from his Dark Side of the Moon album by Mighty Hebrew, produced by Chief Kontao. Here we go.
Damn it, I forgot to bring my puppet.
Moon's dark, spark marks, talk bark, play hard, get part. Universe thoughts, born hard, that's brave. Tiger waves, star see just blaze. NKs, we rage from pain. Wasted, ginger out hate, stay in our DNA. Track home, Damien, Sun Satan. Fan band, night breed, lamp band. Schizophrenic, panic on Xanax. Beyond planets, ramming, bomb like cannons. Fuck cameras, this ain't Camden. Nigga man, know that I'm better than him. We win, crushing, she double bitch, mix shit, piss, period, kick it, period. Love potion, nemesis, blend in, hate get in it, like fake rims, world end, we begin. Make room, dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room.
Number fire in here.
Dark side of the moon, journey for Judas truth. We sparking jewels, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, journey for Judas truth. We sparking jewels, flesh wounds and tomb for the room. Doom, consume, boom. As they bloom, last year begging fools, hit busy tools. Boom, boom, nine ether, smoke screen. With a rhyme needle, light sheen, divine being. Elohim, who I be, landing, Benamin, Mizraim, be me. Vision 4D, McGee and me, green. Make me angry, philosophy, cavity. Weak like battery. Meet me. Concrete, field heat, beach street, king any beat. White meat, factories, any beast. In the east, arms reach, master lead. Get chopped like blocks, hot like fire. Twist like chopper, fuck a copper. Hot lava, I'm lava, so survivor.
Yeah.
That was dope, yo.
Make room, dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room.
Yeah.
Dark side of the moon, journey for Judas truth. We sparking jewels, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, make room. Dark side of the moon, journey for Judas truth. We sparking jewels.
Mighty Hebrew with that sick song right there. Ninth song from his album. Check it out. Y'all can peep Journey to the Dark Side of the Moon. Out everywhere now. Yeah.
Shout out to Talk.
Shout out to Mighty Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Fire. Absolute fire. All right. Let's go. Next now, we got none other than Voltage Controller.
Oh, man. Yo, Voltage spit a verse, yo.
What? He's spitting verses? He's not just a beat maker?
Nah, man, we got a song together, yo. Yo, he spit a verse on it. I was like, oh, shoot, I was shocked. And it was dope.
All right.
Shout out to Voltage, man.
Well, this track is called Cosmic Wind Wheels.
I loved it. I just love the name of it. 49.7, 59.7. Almost there, 60. Come on, yo, let's get this. The wind chimes.
Voltage control.
Yeah.
This is existing. There's something I could, Voltage.
Flow was ill.
Oh yeah, send this one to me too. Yeah. Ultimate Light. I saw you, Aris.
Ghetto Gandalf, the wizard.
J Code .81 in the building.
Yeah.
Man. Big Voltage.
Voltage, that was cool. That was
yeah,
an
send that beat to me. I know, I want to, that's going to be the name of it. It's an experience.
Yeah.
Like no other.
Fire. Fire as always.
Yep.
All right, let me see. I think we are down to our grand finale.
Oh, shit.
Yep. You already know who it is.
Hey, the car.
You already know.
Hey. Hit me with his new number 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This track is called Anunnaki Safari.
Hey.
It's about to be fire right here.
Yep.
Full screen, let's go.
The experience begins.
The Anunnaki and the Icke, who are the bodies of deified spirits, were identified with the stars of the northern and southern heaven. The Babylonians believed that the will of the gods was made known to men by the motions of the planets.
This is our day. This is the day that we can say, I'm free, I'm me, truly,
Yo, Anunnaki Safari, Rastafari Ferrari, Kamikaze Bugatti, suicide doors up, you decide who am I? Lens of perception, my sword is up, so where you been roaming with no direction, you out of line, you
out your mind clearly, I'm out the question. Mark of the beast, leaving carbon footprints when I marched on the beat. Place the stars out your reach like a drunken wise man through the bars. That's how I teach. Explosive high voltage, check the sparks I release. These words are so deep, it's hard to repeat. Like a seedless fruit, sweeter than juice, but couldn't reproduce. My vision make you hiccup. It's a stick up. Go on, put your wrist up. Watch the time stop rewind before you crash the planet. Mother shit while sipping godly wine. Zodiac, the holy rapture, got the stage lit up. Mothers talking out their ass like the bottom on your pin up. Olympic torch, candelabra, knowledge is advanced persona. You can tell it's confidence already by a standing posture. When you playing season 8, you should never plan to prosper. Whirlpool, world jewels spinning in my hands to stop a topographic, holographic knowledge of the great sonata. I'm too genuine to lie to be Frank Sinatra, Alma Rocket, Matrix Saga, ancient Nagasaki, sipping venom from a rattlesnake in danger with a space mandala.
I love when he spaz out.
This is our day. This is the day that we can say I'm free, I'm me, truly, hooray. Problem book answerer, ganja bush chancellor, God's a good gambler. Play the dice, time believe the phony. I demand a slice, scan the price. The streets be making sandwiches from amateurs. This can't be right. I remember studying by candlelight to memorize potential lies. They specialize in saying we ain't special. Eyes open, sky, ocean, mind explosion. Lyrical wise spokesman, indigenous tribal omens, invisible cycles flowing. Breathe, inhalation, acceleration, excellent occasion to excel in this amazing living Mason's lip creation. What did you learn to be the maker of your currency? Today is not 11th, that's emergency. 9's emergent 11T's completion, seeking freedom, leader. Watch me shock the world purposely. Apocalypse, go learn to me. Fantasia, planetasia, information, shooting out salama lasers at the clergery. Megatronic scholar, play a greater con of our behavior. Drop a razor, save with you from sharpened up to save to you. Future populator, you can't dispute these Andrew flutes. Harmonize around me, it's hard to try to count me. Math magician, mag addition, mass collision. Crack the ribbon sitting in the sky dome. I took the megabyte from off the Apple on the iPhone. Smite the wicked writer, cosmic ticket to remind Rome. Karma, Sutra, Tantra, Judah, Olympus, making my moan. Back up in the eye within my cyclone, vagina throne. Palace tower, palace flower, more than dew I poured on you. Herbal lessons, learn your lessons, word confessions, urban reverend, cosmophysics, surfing sessions, acquiesce, back to flesh, Scorpio. Kill with just a glare without a murder weapon. Constellation, sperm collection, constipated word expression. Here's another key to free you spaces in a nervous head. Trouble 7 world connection. This is our day. This is the day that we can say I'm free, I'm me, truly, hooray.
The text of the tablet, which would undoubtedly have supplied details as to Marduk's arrangement and regulations for the sun, the moon, the stars, and the signs of the zodiac in the heavens, is wanting. The prominence of the celestial bodies in the history of creation is not to be wondered at. The science of astronomy had gone hand in hand with the superstition of astrology in Mesopotamia from time.
God Zodiac, once again, consistency of staying elevated lyrically, conceptually, and like I said before, oyster when it comes to rap.
It's always fire. Shout out to Ka Zodiac. Great stuff.
I got your math too, and I'm gonna hit you up.
Yeah. If you guys want to submit your songs or tracks for the next episode, which is going to be on Monday, go to killerpriest.tv/song promo. The link is in the description. Yeah. This concludes the song promotion segment.
Hey, yo, we just came in, so we won't get fined. No doubt. Yo, thank y'all for coming in on a ill Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday in the morning. You know, and you know what's crazy is that we have a whole day ahead of us.
Yeah.
And we just so much knowledge and so much elevation and so much positivity. And we here earlier, we're gonna, somebody said off day tomorrow. Yep, Vinny. Make sure you send that beat too.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it like this. Yo, we thank everybody. Let's get to 60K, 484 in the building. Thank you for coming to Killer Priest Podcraft. For everybody who knew, we call it the Podcraft because we take off. We blast. We about to blast off into the galaxies beyond that. Right here is the Podcraft where we say everything that's on your mind, get it out, research, put it down. We're not biased. We just let everybody get it off. And right here, we want to leave y'all with this.
Now wait a minute. Before we go,
Hold up.
didn't you say you wanted to play something?
Oh, you want to give him something?
I mean, you said
what's yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I
it
felt
was a
inspired
workout
today.
song.
Yeah, you got the workout joint?
Yeah, but
A couple of joints. Should have hit him with a mark of Buddha. Let's see. Which one we got?
what album did you want to put it on? Or did you not want to say?
Where's the workout? That's the Merkaba Circus. Vedic Vape Room. Shout out to Danny Salinas. His brother Glow.
Oh, that's right. We go back to it right now. That's right.
Is it in there?
So you got no 80s game show. That's not it. Latin Brothers Glow. I don't want to start naming off tracks.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? Because then we're gonna give it away.
Take-
Let's see. It's on your Vedic Vape Room.
Let's work out.
Maybe it's in
We're
here.
not gonna take too long though.
Prana. No.
Prana.
You said it was.
Oh, Prana's Mark of the Buddha, right? Yeah, we'll play some of Prana.
Oh, is it markable? Also esoteric.
No, play Prana.
Okay.
We can't find it.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna stick around and get it together a little bit.
You don't know the name of the song?
Yeah, it says workout. You know, we name the song sometimes either workout or gym or gems. I know. It's a beat by what's the name? Working out. Oh, it takes so long.
I know, right?
It's so long. They one of the angelical. Let me see.
Angelical. Go back to Brother Glow.
I wanted to
Let me check here.
T Vedic.
No. Let's see. MOB. Nope. I checked this already. Yep. Nope. You have so much music.
I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
Like one. That's B. Fox Chase.
Nope. Craft Letter.
Yeah, it was definitely a fire show.
Yeah, it was a good show. We're gonna just have to set it up for next time, I guess, and just play something else.
Mr. Universe. Yeah, because I forgot the name of it. I'll get the name of it.
Teacher's Pet.
From Me to Me. Which album is this?
Brother Glow.
Pet.
Yeah, I feel like it was Return to Nebula that you were gonna have something in there. No. It was gonna go into an album, and then you're like, nah.
Vedic Vape Room?
Yeah, and then you're like,
Is that Vedic? Hold on, let me see.
you were like, let me change it for another album. So I was like, all right.
So fat. Oh, we might as well.
Trainer.
Yeah, the trainer.
That's what it was.
But we got to change the name. The
Okay.
Trainer, Jim. I don't know
Yeah,
if it
yeah.
was
At least we found it though. Want me to play it?
Yes, play some of it.
You want to set it up?
Exclusive. Since he was here, we got some people in the building.
Who that?
Somebody said play Prana.
You want to play Prana or you want to play Trainer?
Yeah, Prana, because Prana is what's the name? Trainer is that's Cover Boy, right?
Okay.
So it's between Cover Boy and cause we didn't play a Marco Buddha, so Prana is like one of my favorite joints, and Trainer too. Trainer's my joint. What y'all want to hear? Prana or Trainer? Just for the name, because we don't know.
What they saying is there's a delay of like 7 seconds.
Huh?
There's a 7-second delay, so whatever you ask will pop up on screen in 7 seconds.
Oh, okay. Oh, so if you struggle math, it's time to wake up. off the floor.
We got 1 vote for Prana. Triple JC says both.
Shout
Shout out to Chandler.
Prana.
They're like, Prana just sounds cool.
The Prana. Yeah. Shout out to Mark
Like,
Buddha.
it
Let's play
sound
Prana.
like dope track.
All right, play Prana.
Here we go. From the Magic. What do
Is it?
you want to say what album it's coming out on?
Nah.
Okay.
Because we'll never know where it's coming out.
Keep them in suspense. Here we go. Here's Prana.
What album does it say?
It's the Mark of Buddha.
Magic.
Yeah. They don't see me no more, right?
Anunnaki mummies, alien Sumerians, consuming free countries. Esau was the hairy man. Yaqub had the big head. Many were misled. Gospel of the Shashus, apostles with thick feds. Twist dreads, kiss the dead, and those that are sick in bed. Then run out the door ready for war, load my clips with lead. A sci-fi sky setting, Armageddon, silent planet, head bandage, armor shredded, comets headed. Behold the dragon, 7-headed, the holes in my hands in my resurrection. Meteorites, headed for the social media types. Get on your mobile, you tweet or you type. This is global, show news, freedom you fight. Soon as the Pope rules, occults too, kingdoms unite. COINTELPRO, exposed, UFO, the whole Israel knows. The book of Job took its toll. They came to Africa to look for gold. The draconian Draculas picked diamonds from coal. Before the master of massacres found us hiding in homes. They saw statues of our elders residing on thrones. We had plumbers, welders, writers of poems. Amongst the wonders, the Delta Empire was known. Fabrics from Gucci, draped over my dome like a kufi. Middle Eastern jewelry around my neck down to my buckle that says Louis. And I don't care, I wear it while France is burning. In Rome, I'm at a throne with a princess Persian. Laughing, splashing in their oceans. Madmen speeding through their desert, crashing American Suburbans. Even the English version praise the demon words.
Hey. Wheel up. Exclusive.
Hot new mix.
Exclusive. Show you that we working, man. We're not playing no game. Not playing no game. All hot power. That's produced by the none other than M.O.B. Mark Buddha.
Yeah.
Oh, ceaseless. Like, oh man, we got work. We got work to do. We got work up in there. Shout out to Aries up in the building. That it for the day. That it. What we doing, y'all? Somebody say.
Man, we free flowing right now because it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday, I get exclusive. It's still 4 in the building. Word.
Yeah, 471.
Huh?
471.
Give them a little bit of training there.
Oh, so you are giving them both.
Uh-huh. Hey, we got time.
Yeah.
Should I give them some training too? Or should I just leave them like that?
Might as well now.
Mark and Buddha. This is Cover Boy. So we got Mark and Cover.
Here we go.
I exercise patience to trainer. I kickbox through hip-hop. I let the bass pump to make the place jump from disc jock. Girls do their hair curls while brothers lift iron. My lyrics like a gymnast. I walk in, the devil splits. A Merca being an alchemist. Demons see me, then they dip between bars. I write, but the green make them look lean. And for that bread, they fiend carbs. Move weight, they seem large. Rhymes are vegetables. My time is flexible. Stretch the imagination way beyond incredible. I do steps and staircases, motivation, determination, preparation. That's my reps, perspiration, word of mouth. I told my old boss it's not working out. I trained for a new job, spit a few bars for Jizza and Ra. Heavy Mental was the Wizard of Oz. The psychic world of Walter Reed was Alice in Wonderland. Hidden album of Son of Man. Stood on my own amongst the clan. I'm the priest, I have muscle mass. My pen hit pad, my chin hits abs. Endless vocabs, tremendous romance. Try my 8-album program. Your lead skills, your flows there. On treadmills, you go nowhere. Rip the shreds, meet the polar bear. Cardio is my audio, it's my gaudy flow. You want beef, then work on calves. Outreach, come to my class. 2 times
That's
a week,
enough.
the Podcraft. AD will provide you a seat.
let it
Beats
go.
by God's wrath.
Yeah.
So I should let it go.
Thanks for that shout out. Yeah, I had to let that little
See?
that line finish right there.
Yeah, we gotta let it go.
That was fire.
We're making music over here. Making music.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shout out to my cat Mojito joining the little session right now.
Hey, shout out to Mojito. He came through and he was cool. I thought he was about to flip out at one moment.
I mean, he did pop up on the main stage here for a second, but
you know that's perfect time to smack.
Well, he likes to attack Rasul.
Yeah. He's like, yo, come here, Sue.
Yeah.
With Sue telling his stories, Cat be up on it. Shout out to Dave Flores, Voltage. Oh man, we got some stuff. Yeah.
True.
All day long. All right, y'all. So thank y'all for coming through. And we out.
See y'all on Monday. Peace.
You must gain balance within yourself.
Let me tell you what the winter sun. Mars studies. Winter sun, Mars studies.
Tell me everything you know.
Silk, hallucinogenic power. When Shiva was born, the seed turned to milk.
Yes.
And it snowed turmeric powder. One of her hands reached down and planted the Bodhi.
Yes.
Then handed out roti with chickpeas. Amongst the thick leaves, sat the yogi, wearing big beads. Then here comes Jenna, the enlightener.
Are you ready?
Smell the spice as she entered. She painted the tiger in stripes with henna. The oldest scrolls, called the Riga Vita.
That's right.
Hair was not ether, bigger features.
Yes.
Near the golden monkey, the stone toad, and the salamander. Before Alexandria was conquered by Alexander. Where the gods with the bronze head met the beast with the blonde dreads.
Yes.
Dalai Lama meets Brahma, they feast on non-bread. The Buddha was happy and chubby, rubbed the belly, feel lucky.
Good one.
The gods got mean and turned green like mint chubby.
Moving on.
Romulus and Remus, the she-wolf, gave birth to her puppy.
Yes.
A kid sat doing yoga, played with his pet cobra. He said, Father, I have no attachment. I am one with everything. The sky blackened.
Everything is
Then
connected.
came Vishnu from out of flying crystal. I Star Trek through Tibet, landed down near plants and insects. Approached the orange-robed monk that sat in front of the monastery. The temple of forgotten vows.
Brilliant.
Of silence. Sweat drip from my brow. I bowed. Priest, return to Easter Island. Witness me coming down from a cloud. Holding the mic, hold back the crowd. Melchizedek inheritance. Genetic transmission, mysteries of El Leon. Feel the wizardry as you impel to a stone. That's word to Ganesh, killing Dumbo. In the Laura Temple, Ajanta cave in the jungle. Beneath the stars, many of the ancient gods depict bulls, snakes, birds, or card. Original manuscript held as archives, locked in the vault. Through the cobwebs and smoke, the living dead, spells said and ghosts. The deepest rhymes I ever wrote, beneath the shrine of the goats. Wet, naked, and soaked, from a baby Mel to Gabriel, riding Haley's tail. Comments hitting your conscience like 80 wells. The teachers in their pride, vainly boast, they know nothing. This mic holds substance, and it is they who obey and truly succeeded in achieving total ignorance and sheer bliss. I'm here for years, until I'm gone, I leave Saffron. Saffron. I leave Saffron. So as he was, the priest is born inside of a stone egg. Fell off the mountain, cracked, came up, he rapped. Perhaps I take you to the temple soon. You will all be tripping. The smell of perfume.
Accept the reality.